Let's go to the PPP costs. Pure PPP cost estimate. Most countries estimate the cost directly from the financial feasibility model, which is based on ad hoc estimates of all the costs for the private, always nominal values, taxes. And remember, this is the costs to the SPV, base cost, CAPEX, OPEX, contingencies, minus efficiencies, minus third-party incomes, plus SPV taxes, plus financial cost of debt, plus profits or return. This is what is making the PPP costs for the government. Okay. So most countries go to this approach, okay? Financial shadow bid model. But some countries, Netherlands, for example, in what they call the public-private comparator, they do initial ex ante value for money that is simplified and is not going for a full financial model, but just going directly to the summatory of the costs of the public party. Okay, so it's a little bit different. Also SPV cost estimates, yes, it is common that is based in base cost, incorporating efficiencies and contingencies. That's the mostly the standard according and is respectful with the CP3PK. It's in line with the CP3PK. Remember anyway, some countries would accept that these third-party incomes could be different, typically higher, which I have doubts about being good practice. The construction period, I have doubts now. 1 year ago, I was in favor, but now I think that is not good. The construction period is considered to be the same, okay? But we know that it could be some adjustment in terms of non-financial benefit. I mean, the cost-benefit implications for the higher reliability of the PPP contract. Okay, SPV cost estimates should be made from the SPV perspective. Okay, the probable cost according to the prices that they will define to the contractors, considering downstream risk transfer, no contingencies. So this is very important for me. Not all the countries are accepting that, that we cannot use the same base cost than in the PSC, but we need to incorporate contingencies and maybe leave some space for efficiencies. And this is necessary not only for being accurate in the value for money, but also to protect the commercial feasibility, to have a real estimate of what we consider is the cost from the perspective of the private party. Because if we don't estimate properly that cost from the perspective of the private party, we subestimate that cost. Maybe the project that we are going to approve is not feasible. Okay, effectiveness effectiveness, not efficiency, can be included, but must be duly argued. And income from third parties, I consider that only should be considered different in an auxiliary income, commercial synergies or whatever, but not in the mainstream of payments coming from users. And an early value for money calculation, I think, should be performed. Okay. Okay, PPP cost, other costs or possible adjustments, including transaction and contract management costs. Contract management refers to contract oversight, monitoring, contract administration, etc. Okay, some countries include a specific estimate in each of the contractual models, UK, Netherlands, Mexico, Colombia, so they don't need to do any adjustment. They are just recognizing in the respective projections what they consider is the true cost for each of the contractual models. Interestingly, in Peru, the structuring costs are implicit in the PPP payments because they are charging the PPP company with a fee to get a compensation from the PPP company of the project preparation and structuring cost. Okay, and in Colombia they do the same with monitoring costs. The monitoring costs are to be paid by the private party. Okay, so monitoring costs in Colombia they are incorporated in the PPP cost incorporated in the financial model of the private party, because it's the private party who has to pay, and then they will charge us. They will charge us in the PPP payments. Okay, with that nuance, there are many countries that they do a specific estimate for each of the two models. Others include an adjustment in the PPP cost just as an estimate of the difference. And this is what we described before, that is being described by the CP3P guide. Okay, and in some countries there is no adjustment or any consideration of this cost: transaction costs, regulatory or contract administration, management costs, like Korea or Australia. But in Australia, if we may assume that the difference may be significant, then we go to qualitative analysis. Okay, the problem is when we don't have qualitative analysis in the mix of the information for the informed decision. That is the big problem. Okay, there should be an adjustment for higher PPP structuring costs. That's my opinion. Okay, or each projection should include its own estimate. But in relation to contract management or supervision, I already advanced this. I am going to deviate now from the CP3P guide. I think that it is not clear that they should be different. I just put the same because otherwise, unless I can cover in qualitative analysis the relevance and importance of the value that I am going to receive in case that the cost for monitoring are bigger in the PPP. But if I cannot do that, like most of Latin American countries, where everything has to be guided by pure quantitative value for money assessment, then I would remove from any difference from the assessment, because I would be penalizing the PPP project for something that is really an advantage, or the model is giving back to me value for money because of this higher cost, but I am not capturing that value in the quantitative assessment. Okay, but other adjustments not contemplated in the CP3P guide. In UK, they consider an adjustment for the lack of flexibility in the PPP, the need to renegotiate for contract changes, lack of, control or lack of competition for contract changes, etc., etc. Okay, all right. We don't have a particular opinion, but definitively, if we can rely on qualitative, I would go for qualitative statements rather than trying to quantify this so subjective matter.